Mark chapter 16 and verse 24. Then said Yahushua unto his disciples, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. For what is a man profited if he gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his works. I'd like to start out by saying Barakateh Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem Rachakodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is, What Will You Give in Exchange for Your Soul? And pretty much this is a lesson that was inspired by a conversation, a text conversation I was having with different brothers. I believe that was Friday. And our brothers had sent me this picture here of Beyonce on the cover of Vogue magazine. And the first thing I noticed that, of course, the red horse of Revelation, but I also noticed the red and the black within the cover, which red and black goes back to the Rosicrucians, and that's the colors that they use, back to the order of the Rose Cross or the Rosy Cross. And one thing that I did notice, but something that didn't sit well with me outside of all of that, was her hairstyle. It's something, I said, there's something satanic about their hairstyle. It looks like the tree of life that they have out there. And then I started doing some research, and I found some information. Like here, this is Vogue, July 2022 edition. This is the British one. And the brother had mentioned a few things about the rose and, how, they would wear it in England or something along those lines. I can't really fully remember how he said it. And I said, well, there's no coincidence that it's a British edition. I said, look inside of the O, you see the word British. All right. And as you can see, this is the whole thing. Turn up the heat, because they're about to turn the heat up. The red horse is about to do his thing. And these devils among Jake they sold their soul. So there's no hope for them. That's why when they try to come back, they get smashed. They get either put in jail, they get killed by the so-called illuminated ones. They get labeled as crazy, and a lot of times they label them as suicides, either suicides or accidental death by whatever means. Now I'm just going to read a little bit of this here. Rosicrucian religion. Rosicrucian, member of a worldwide brotherhood claiming to possess esoteric wisdom handed down from ancient times. The name derives from the order's symbol, a rose on a cross, which is similar to the family coat of arms of Martin Luther. And what you're going to find out is a lot of these so-called top leaders and preachers, going all the way back then and even now, are all a part of some type of occult, Mason or Masonic lodge, because they all work for the devil. That's why you see them throwing up them different gang signs, the Vesica Pisces, Satan's horns, a Mano Cornuto, and different symbolisms like that, because they're all a part of the bigger picture. All right. It says Rosicrucian teachings are a combination of occultism and other religious beliefs and practices, including Hermeticism, Jewish mysticism, and Christian Gnosticism. Now keep in mind that word Christian. The central feature of Rosicrucian is the belief that its members possess secret wisdom that was handed down from them to them from ancient times. Now keep in mind the Christian part. Now when we go here to the Rose Cross, this is one of the things I found. Notice it's black and red, just like the cover of Vogue. And when we read this, it says the rose cross, also called Rosicrucianism or Rosicrucianism, is a symbol largely associated with the legendary Christian Rosicrucian, Christian Kabbalist, alchemist, and founder of the Rosicrucian order. The rose cross is a cross with a rose at its center, often red, golden, or white, and symbolizes the teachings of a Western esoteric tradition with Christian tenets. All right, and the reason why I wanted you to remember that here, the Christian and the Christian tenets, is because this is exactly what you believe when you're into that Renaissance Christianity. You believe in the Rosicrucian / whatever Masonic group, is out there teaching. These are the tenets that you're following. You're not following Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And you could tell by the things that they worship within, the tenets of quote unquote Christianity in whatever form and whatever name it comes. All right. So when we go here to 2 Corinthians 11:3, it says, "But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve," and we're dealing with the beguiling of Eve. She sold her soul. All right. It says, "So your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Yahushua." Yeah, because this knowledge is very simple. It's not complicated. See, when people start throwing all that other extra occult nonsense in it, that's when it becomes confusing. And this is why you have the gatekeepers that have to make you learn all these different big words and different so-called Christian terminologies, so that you can just say, you know what, you handle that, I'll just believe whatever you tell me. So it says, if he that cometh preaches another Jesus," and that's what they're doing, because it's a form of Christian mysticism, so-called Christian occultism. Nothing to do with the Most High and Yahushai. It's something to do with another Jesus, the anti-Messiah, whom you have not preached. Or if you receive another spirit which you have not received, or another gospel which you have not accepted, you might bear with him. Why? Because we have to endure these things, because whether in pretense or in sincerity, Yahushai is preached. Right? And then we jump down to the 13th verse. It says, "For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Yahushai." And that's why they'll throw Christian tenets within these demonic, satanic, occult, practices, to make it seem that, that it's holy and divine, but it's not. It's straight up demonic and satanic. It says, "And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light." Yeah, because he's not going to come and tell you straight up what he's doing until it's too late for you. You're already pickled in it. Salaka, just bear with me. "Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works." All right, so going back here, we're going to jump down to the word here, Thelema, because remember, we're dealing with Beyonce on the cover of Vogue, the British version, July 2022. The red and the black represent the Rosicrucians. She's on the red horse, of course, Revelation 6, and a call for an uprising. I'm not sure the guy's name. He just did a video on this, and I don't believe him. I heard him mention anything about her hairstyle. He just mentioned how she's a witch, and he went into the whole thing of her and Jay-Z being, witches and warlocks and stuff like that, which we already know. Beyonce, turn up the heat. But the main thing that I wanted to bring out, which dealing with the Rosicrucians and this hairstyle, when I first saw it, I said this has to represent the tree of life. Something satanic about this hairstyle that she got, or this symbol that she got on top of her head. So when we read down the Thelema, it says the symbol of the rosy cross played a substantial role within the system of Thelema. All right. is a Western esoteric and occultic social or spiritual philosophy, a new religious movement founded in the early 1900s by Aleister Crowley, 1875 to 1947, an English writer, mystic, occultist, and ceremonial magician, which he was a demon. All right. And the reason why I decided to go into this lesson was because I was watching the English brothers remind some of the other brothers they were doing a lesson on Scottish something, and they had mentioned that this devil Aleister Crowley, and it brought back to mind this whole situation. So I grabbed some information and decided to do a little video on it. It says, within the system of Thelema as developed by Aleister Crowley, in a cosmological context, the rose is Nuit, right? A goddess in Thelema, the speaker in the first chapter of the Book of the Law, blah, blah, blah. The infinitely expanded goddess of the night sky. Because remember, one thing they always do is they always promote, woman worship, goddess worship. That's why they push that Mary worship heavy, which is nothing more than Semiramis and Tammuz, the so-called virgin birth myth that they push out there. And they always pushing the woman out there, the Queen of Heaven worship, because that is one of the strongest demons that they work with, on the left-hand side of the night sky. And the cross is Hadith, refers to a Thelemic deity. Hadith is the principal speaker or the second, blah, blah, whatever. So these are the real origins of these things with a so-called Christian tenet twist to it. They have to use the scriptures, otherwise it won't work. Remember the movie Book of Eli said if the book says it, they'll believe it. And they're putting their twist to it, teaching another Jesus or another Yahushai. The ultimately contracted atomic point for Crowley. It was a job of the adept to identify within the appropriate symbol to experience the mystical conjunction of opposites, which leads to attainment. In this sense, the rose cross is a grand symbol of the great work. Yeah, so see, it's really the great work. Pretty much at the end of the day, you erase the Most High and you put yourself, it's your own will. The use of the word or the term God is just something to throw the people off to make them think that it's dealing with the Most High, but it's not. It says the Tau and the circle together, that's the cross with the circle, make one form of the Rosicrucianism, the uniting of the subject and object, which is the great work, and which is symbolized sometimes as this cross and circle, sometimes as the lingam yoni, all right, sometimes as the ankh, which we know about that, or crux ansata, sometimes by the spire and nave of the church or temple, and sometimes as a marriage feast, mystic marriage, spiritual marriage, chemical nuptials, and in 100 other ways, whatever the form chosen, it is the symbol of the great work. Yeah, because in these rituals, you have a lot of sexual magic acts that take place. This is where you get the priesthood, with the male and female prostitutes that have sex, to the gods in different ways for different types of sacrifice, just like happened with the Midianites and Jake back then, when Phinehas put that one Jake and that heathen woman to death. It says Crowley also believed that the process is reflected in a sexual act. So we need not be surprised at the unity of subject and object in consciousness, which is samadhi, the uniting of the bride and the lamb, which is heaven. See, they got to throw that so-called tenet in there. The uniting of the magus and the god, which is evocation. The uniting of a man and his holy guardian angel, which is the seal upon the work of the adeptus minor, is symbolized by the geometrical unity of the circle and the square, the arithmetical unity of the 5 and the 6, and for more universality of comprehension, the uniting of the lingam and the yoni, the cross and the rose. You got the yin and the yang. For as in earth life, the sexual ecstasy is the loss of self in the beloved, the creation of the third consciousness, just transcending its parents. This is all bullshit nonsense, but we're just reading it just to make a point, which is again reflected into a matter as a child, so immeasurably higher upon the plane of spirit, subject, blah, 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 whatever, right? Now, check this out. The Rosy Cross is further symbolic of the grade of Adeptus Minor in the AA, the Kabbalistic sphere of Tefarith on the Tree of Life. You see? So I knew that there was something satanic about this hairstyle and the Tree of Life. So it ties into mysticism. It ties into the Rose Cross, the Rosicrucian order. You know, it ties into that whole satanic thing. You know, so we just read here the Tree of Life. It said the Kabbalistic sphere of Tefaris, on the Tree of Life, the magical formula. It's on the Tree of Life, the magical formula, Inri, and the concepts of light, 70, and life. All right, and then you look up the Tree of Life, which is the Kabbalah, and you scroll down here to the symbol, and you can see the same sort of rays sticking out of here that you see where Beyonce's head is, and then this same thing is around her head. So this whole system is all satanic. You know, it's a real demonic place, you know. And let's see how to, okay. So, and then you have this video here, which I'm not gonna play because I don't know if they're gonna, you know, they're gonna strike it, you know. So I just, you know, I'm just gonna play it. You can see it says, is it me, or did Beyonce just turn into a demon mid-show? Now check it out. That's Satan. That's why that bitch got all that energy to flap around, you know, without even being tired. Look at that. Look at that. Look at it. Her transforming. I think he's going to show it again. Nope. Nope. So let's go back. Let me see. Let me go back a little bit. See right there? Look at that. You can see she's turned into some type of demon, and that's Sasha Fierce, her alter ego, because she sold her soul. And every time they go to, because they pretty much are giving up their bodies over to those demons, and that's how satanic ritual is. You know, you do certain things to open up the doors for those demons to possess your body. And you can see that right there. This is another one. Like I said, I don't really want to play. Look at that. And this is just one out of many. You know, there's other celebrities out there that are like that. And they're possessed by look at that. Look at her. Look at that. Look at that. Look at them demons on her. Look at that. I put all these in the description box in case you wanted to take a look at it. You can see she looks like one of them horror movies. You know, the transformation in those horror movies. You know. And she's in bed with America. Isaiah 47:8. Therefore hear now this, thou that are given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. This is the Most High speaking to Babylon the Great, America, and to these jakes that are in league with America. But these two things shall come unto thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and the widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries. You know, and they're pushing everybody to drink of that cup. Remember, it says that the world wondered after the beast, the ones that were not written in the book of life, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. And these are all enchantments. Every time you see different music videos, every time you see like Super Bowl things and videos and certain movies, these are all satanic rituals for them. and for the great abundance of thine enchantments, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. And that's what Esau does. And Jake has trusted in them. That's why the Lord said through the mouth of Jeremiah, why seekest thou thy way? Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. Yeah, America. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Because this is the end of, or the reward of wickedness is what? Total destruction. Because the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. Here in Isaiah 28 and 14, Judah is warned, and Beyonce is a Judite. She is of the Southern Kingdom. Jay-Z, I'm pretty sure he's Judah. It says Isaiah 28:14, wherefore hear the word of the Lord, ye scornful men that rule this people which is in Jerusalem. Yeah, and these so-called leaders, like the religious leaders of Jake, they're the rulers of Jake, these different senators and mayors, different people that are in office that are Jake, whether it's Southern Kingdom, Northern Kingdom, they're all a part of that. Then also these celebrities that Jake looks up to, they're also a part of their leaders that they follow behind. Because you have said, we have made a covenant with death, and that's what they've done. They've made an agreement with death. Although the Lord said in Exodus 23 and 32, thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. And you made a covenant with them and with their God when you sold out. You allowed these demons to dwell within your bodies, because you sold your soul so that you could live a better life. But you should have read the fine print, because the devil is in the details. So it says, because you have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us. That's what you think. You're thinking that because you sold your soul, you're in a better position. You have wealth. You have a hedge for things to come because you are, made privy, to a lot of things that are coming, so that you can do what you have to do to be protected when that time comes. For we have made lies our refuge, right? And pretty much this whole way that Jake is making their money, and that they're in this protective or secure state of mind, it's all made under the refuge of lies. And what happens to lies? They get swept away eventually. And under falsehood have we hid ourselves, right? Because they have put themselves under the umbrella of the international banking families, thinking that they're going to be protected no matter what. But they don't believe that Yahushua is coming back to put hell upon them. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, which is Yahushua, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste. Yeah, that's why Yahushua said that he that loses his life he that loses his life shall save it, and he that saveth his life shall lose it. So in this life, when you teach this word, persecutions come, hardships come, spirits mess with you. You don't really do as well as you would if you sold out in this society. But guess what? That's a loss of our life. But guess what? We'll gain it when Yahushua comes back, and before that, because the elect will be protected. It says judgment, and those that sold their soul, yeah, they're living it up right now, but shortly they're going to come to ruin. Judgment also will I lay to the lion, and righteousness to the plummet, and he shall, and the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies. Yeah, the destruction. It's going to sweep away the refuge of lies, and the water shall overflow the hiding place. Right. And what is that hiding place? These lies that are going to be swept away once Yahushua comes back. It says, and your covenant with death shall be disannulled. Why? Because the Lord is going to make a disannulling of it. Because you're not going to be able to keep your bargain with this covenant that you made, because you're going to be dead. And your agreement with hell shall not stand. Right. Because your body will be destroyed, and then you'll come back in the kingdom, and you'll be righteous in the kingdom. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then you shall be trodden down by it. Right. That's why Yahushua is compared to that stone that's going to hit the feet of this image of that Nebuchadnezzar had in his vision. It says, from the time that it goeth forth, it shall take you. For morning by morning shall it pass over, by day and by night, and it shall be a vexation only to understand the report. Right, because you thought in your mind that you were safe, that you were established, that you were, that all you had to do was do this, sell out and do all those wicked, abominable things, and you were going to be set straight. But you're not. You pretty much set yourself up for a heavy fall that's coming very soon. It says, for the bed is shorter than a man can stretch himself on it, and the covering narrower than that he can wrap himself in it. And you brothers know times when you had to sleep in uncomfortable situations where you might have had to sleep on a small ass couch. You might have had a cover that only covered the top half, and then your feet get cold and you try to put it on your feet, then your top get cold. This is how they are. They have for security, they have insecurity. It says, for the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua shall rise up as in Mount Perazim, because he's coming back with the chariots and the angels. He shall be wroth as in the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his work, his strange work, and bring to pass his act, his strange act. Yeah, so he's coming forth to bring judgment. So those of you that sold out, you in trouble, Jack. And like I said, when I first seen this cover, Rosicrucian stuck out right away, and then this, I said there's something satanic about her. I thought it was her hairstyle, but it's actually a symbol that's put there, and that her face, I guess it was transposed on top of her. So I don't know how they did it, but I said there's something satanic about this, and it says it reminds me of the tree of life. And come to find out that in this rose cross, or the Rosicrucian cross, the Rosicross is further symbolic of the grade of Adeptus Minor in the AA, the Kabbalistic sphere of Tifereth on the tree of life. You see, and that's what we're looking at right here. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say Shalom.